Class is in session. Welcome to Flight School. I'm joined by Andrew today, and I'm Lockie. And today we're going to be talking about if AI is the new crypto in 2024 and the impacts of AI moving forward into product development, software development, and what it means for the tech space.
I mean, wow. Where do we begin?
I think definitely what AI, particularly what I've been seeing at the moment, AI is becoming this bit of like a buzzword in products at the moment. Like a lot of Notion, a lot of different software products are just putting AI in, particularly Figma as well. They've got AI in that FigJam portion now. Is it a gimmick? Is it just being tossed in there because it's actually bringing benefit to the user? What is AI bringing us?
Yeah. So I was chatting to this client yesterday. They've been a client of Moonward for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they've been, we were chatting about some of their new features that they want to roll out on their product. And they were like, oh yeah, and I'm intrigued by this AI stuff. And I think we could fit that in as well. And that pricked my ears up because you're exactly right in the fact that AI is 100% a buzzword. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's certainly a buzzword. There's clearly this knowledge gap, whether you're in the tech space or you're not, where people actually don't know what artificial intelligence is. And in this instance with the client, he didn't know what benefit AI could offer. He didn't know how it would even improve or enhance the functionality of his app. And he had no idea of what type of feature benefit it would offer to his clients. But because it's such a sort of buzzword and because it's being thrown around so much, he was just like, yeah, let's throw it in there, which for me is a major red flag. Certainly not saying it wouldn't work for him, but it's something that I think needs to be discussed and delved in on.
Yeah, because it's more so people are more approaching it as in, if we don't have AI, we're outdated now. Is that more the approach that we're seeing taken? Whereas it's not bringing actual value to that end product.
Yeah,
essentially.
And I think what we need to do is we need to wind back the clock to, you could even say, late 90s, early 2000s. We had the original, essentially the original tech bubble, and explore what happened there. Then you need to say, look at what happened at the end of COVID and what happened within the tech space there. We had startups getting exuberant amounts of funding. We had tech companies taking on massive amounts of debt, massive amounts of new employees. And then obviously we've seen what has happened over the past 12, 24 months there. And then even more so recently in the crypto space, we can see what's happened in the crypto space over the past, say, 2 years. Yeah. And there's been a bit of a bubble build there as well. Yeah. And if we start to break down those bubbles, for me, the one I know probably most intimately is that post-COVID tech bubble. So what happened, obviously, with COVID, world shut down, huge amount of uncertainty, and everyone instantly, their instant reaction was, hey, we have to go online. And what did that mean? It meant a whole generation of people who weren't necessarily embracing the online space were forced to go online. Yeah. Think of your university lecturers, your accountants, your lawyers. Everyone went from dealing in a business manner from a face-to-face to being forced to go online. Yeah, exactly. And what this created is this big bubble, this big buzz of excitement, and all of the VCs and all of the investors thought, shit, let's get on this, on the bandwagon, let's ride this wave because this is only heading in one direction. And then the tech companies who were running these, whether it's a Zoom or some sort of digital sharing platform, they were basically leading the charge by saying, hey, look, give us a load of cash and we'll expand this business as quickly and as rapidly as possible. And when we were in the wave, everyone was like, fuck, this is amazing. We're not gonna dip at all. And I think you wind back to the start of last year, and every single Fortune 500 tech company was doing mass layoffs, and that wave had come crashing down, and this bubble that was built up during the COVID period came crashing down.
Straight down. It's like the old, it's like the WeWork, right? Just like absolutely scaling up to the max, and then the inevitable capitulation of that company. Not saying this is that same kind of wave, but it's definitely got a bit of a, where there's smoke, there's fire about it. What do you see it being viable in the future? Like, is AI actually a viable strategy for startups, big enterprises to want to latch onto and should invest in, or is it case by case basis? Has the wave been gone? Is it like COVID, where people have started already, people are now seeing the wave happen, and then they're trying to jump on and get the scraps that are remaining there, or is there still vast amounts of opportunity there to keep pushing?
So I liken, if we keep with the analogy of what happened in COVID and what's happening with AI right now, AI 100% is going to happen. It's a thing. 100%, hands down. It's only going to continue to get better. If you're not embracing AI, you got to ask some questions. So 100% AI is going to be the thing. If not, it's already a thing. But the way I look at it is, let's say we look at Zoom. Zoom was a thing well before COVID happened. Like, Zoom had been around, I don't know the exact numbers. It had been around for years prior to COVID. And then what happened is COVID put it in the spotlight, and then Zoom as a company grew drastically. Now to the point culturally, we don't say, hey, we're jumping on a video call. We say, hey, we're jumping on a Zoom call. Even if you're using FaceTime or Google Meets or whatever it might be, we're jumping on a Zoom. And what that did is the COVID spotlight boosted that business. Everyone knew about it. And then all of a sudden, there's been a correction in the market where they've done mass layoffs, their valuation has drastically dropped, but they're still viable as a business, and they're still going as a business, and I imagine they'll still be around for many, many years to come. So I think the key thing to draw from that is, albeit they went on this sort of roller coaster ride, they're still a successful business, and I draw comparisons and similarities to the AI space at the moment. Whereas what's happened is AI is the buzzword. Keep in mind, artificial intelligence, machine learning, AI has been around for many years. It's just been put into the media spotlight over the past 12 months or so, and we're riding this wave. I have no doubt that maybe give it 12 months or 24 months, it will come crashing, not necessarily crashing down, but it will come down, it will correct itself. But the stable and strong organisations and products in the market, ChatGPT, will still be there, and they'll be there for years to come. It's more so the ones who are holding on to the coattails, they're the red flags for me.
Gotcha. Well, you're exactly like ChatGPT. That's become such a. I was looking at this. I'm not sure what the report was, but they were looking at adoption rate in tech. And there was a couple of areas that I think overall internet took years for overall adoption rate, particularly within companies. And ChatGPT's adoption rate was apparently just a couple of weeks into being launched out. So people are hungry for it. And I think ChatGPT's been, let's call it the analogy, the Bitcoin of AI, where the OpenAI is making it just so accessible for people to get on board, and they've got their APIs and their connections where third parties can jump on board to build apps off the back of it. But you've got to very much find the proper niche and have the right push forward and maybe idea to be able to leverage it right. Otherwise, you might just come across as another chat room, which is just leveraging ChatGPT, which people don't really know too much on how to use. Where have you seen it work well? Where's the best that you've gone? AI is actually giving me a lot of benefit here compared to please just check my spelling errors for this email that I'm about to send.
Please just check my spelling is probably
it's honestly I'd love to see some stats on like check spelling versus like write me some code, and then like for philosophical questions about life for the AI.
I think the key thing about AI is the responses or the data that you get out of it is really only as good as the data that you put into it. A really good example is one of my business contacts. I was chatting, continued to chat with him, but he was in the machine learning space. He's been in the machine learning space for past 8 years.
Yeah.
And they've been building a particular product in the machine learning space. And, long story short, but like I said, they've been around for 8 years. For the first 4 years, all they did was data collection and cleaning their data.
Yeah.
Because they knew they could build the best machine learning model in the world, but if they had the poor data collection, then the output would offer no value. So they focused on making sure that their data was clean, their data capture methods were efficient and scalable, knowing that, hey, if we piece that puzzle together, the actual building the machine learning element won't necessarily be simple, but it'll be far better than if you've gotten shitty data which is all over the shop and not providing accurate results further down the line. So in answer to your question, what I've seen is where the AI space is efficient and effective is when you've got a solid amount of input or data input or parameters that you're feeding into the system. If you and when we talk about system, this could be anything. It could be OpenAI through the API. It could be putting something into ChatGPT. It could be getting a Notion to rewrite your document. Whatever it is. I think it's heavily reliant on the context and the information you provide it. If you just ask open-ended questions, well, you expect to get open-ended responses.
Touched on a very important piece there, like the biggest roadblock for AI, and what I think people think AI and they want it to be is that I never have to lift a finger again, or like this system is just going to know everything and push forward. Granted, ChatGPT, I think, has been the first to do that, where this company's invested so much money in data capture to build AI off the back of it. That Notion analogy that you use, Notion AI is nothing unless you write something, or currently write something, give it some prompts to be able to build something off the back of it. Otherwise, it's useless. And it's just a tool that's on there for a little purple sparkle and another price upsell. So really the linchpin in all AI, and what I think people aren't really capturing onto just yet, is that for me to operate this correctly, I need years of data, or I actually need data for it to analyze, learn, develop, pick up on the things that I want it to pick up on. Whereas GPT has just gone, here is everything, and then here's the sandbox for it, and they've gone the most commercial route possible, where they are just everything, but it's given that space for people to jump on board to get anything they want as well.
And keep in mind, anyone who uses ChatGPT is simply making the product better, because you're feeding data into the system.
Exactly.
But you raise a good point, and I would hazard a guess to say that 99% of AI products out there at the moment are leveraging OpenAI.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're using their system to build some sort of AI product off the back of it. I guess from your point of view, having seen a lot of products in the space, having had a lot of clients intrigued with this, the AI space, what are some red flags that you think business owners or businesses should be cautious of, or the everyday consumer should be cautious of when someone is, say, advertising themselves as an AI product? Yeah.
The biggest one, like we touched on one of them, which was the data capture. They're not realizing probably the upfront work that we have to find an appropriate data pool, which, like you said, is clean, has resources there that relate to the product that they're actually going to be building, and is also then accessible by us as well. Because it's amazing that there's a database out there, but if we can't get in, or it's priced out of where they want to jump on into, then it's going to be really difficult. We either got to start from scratch, start handing out forms, and start collecting all that stuff ourselves, which is another pathway to go down. But that's a big red flag, like you mentioned. In terms of business owners advertising themselves, we've touched on it. AI is the buzzword.
Yeah.
If you simply use it as the buzzword, users are starting to get a bit more tricky and snappy in terms of realizing that this isn't actually AI. It's just a cool bot that's going to come in here and just rewrite some stuff or get some information for me.
Yeah.
And it can be very detrimental to your products, your brand, and what you're presenting yourself as.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to create maybe like a legal business where you want to offer legal advice, or you want to create a different chat room that's very specialized for maybe a particular trade or anything like that, You want to make sure that what you're actually bringing to the table in terms of AI is doing what it says on the box, and you're not just actually trying to force something in there to seem like you're more cutting edge than you are.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen it. Like we've all seen the person who's attracted to the shiny objects. They say, I've got this AI plugin, I've got this tool which does this, I bolt this onto my calendar and I bolt this onto my email, and all I have to do is go control AI.
Yeah.
And my life is automated.
Sort of, yeah.
So obviously that's not the approach that businesses should be taking at this point, at least business owners should be taking at this point. Two-ended question. What are you seeing working really well in the AI space at the moment? And what would you suggest that business owners should start exploring when it comes to AI products that are out there right now?
That's a great question. Call me late to the AI train, but I think the best AI that I've seen and that I'm seeing a good adoption rate for is like personal AI, where I'm leveraging AI just for myself in my life to be able to, like you said, plan the calendar out, not necessarily plan the team's calendar out, plan what the entire company is doing this week. So I've got all of this on my plate. What could I do to structure up a week easier? That's where I see AI becoming really beneficial for the everyday person, where it's I just didn't have to think. I have to think less about that thing now. That's off my plate, and I don't have to do that anymore. Freeing you up for more time to focus on more important things. For businesses, it's really weighing up the pros and cons of this investment. Is investing in AI to do a particular job in the business going to bring me back X returns because it's having X amount of capital, which means we can reinvest into something else? Or are we trying to force it in there because the world's going that way and we must adapt to just jump on board the train when your business might already be operating to where it needs to be? You just want to make sure that when you're applying this to a business, a product, that it's fitting that niche rather than just trying to get it in there for the sake of getting it in there.
Yeah.
And we'll see that through, I think if you get the personal portion right, where you get the everyday person on, everyone is currently using it, then the adoption rate becomes far quicker.
Yeah.
Where people they're familiar with the tool and they're going to leverage it in their work life as well.
Yeah.
I'm a person might be leveraging a calendar one or ChatGPT to write a few emails. Great. Now that everybody's doing that personally, that now becomes the company rather than trying to get it in there.
Yeah, you're spot on in the fact that I think what this all stems from is changing the expectations of AI.
Yep.
You're right in the fact that we're still very early on in this AI journey as a society.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, AI can do fantastic things, but I think it's shifting the expectations of, hey, look, as an individual within this company, how can I maybe find one or two AI tools which save me 20 minutes in my week, 30 minutes in my week? All of a sudden, we'll get to a point, whether it's in 12 months' time, it could be in 12 weeks' time, where someone doesn't need a personal assistant anymore because their calendar's managed for them or their emails are managed for them. A really good example of what I think is technically it's AI is we use Gmail for all of our emails or G Suite for all of our emails. You start writing like an email and Google gives you that suggestion.
Yes.
It's like, hey, how you going? Tab.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say like, hey, and it fills out how you going.
Yeah.
Google doesn't say, hey, look, this is AI. We've got this revolutionary AI.
Yeah.
It's just like the Google suggestions. But if you break it down, really what it is it's some form of artificial intelligence based on a pool of data that they've got through billions and billions of emails that have been sent. Yeah. They go, well, most likely the next sentence he's going to write is this.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic example as an individual, this is how I can embrace AI. Simplest, easiest example, and it's only just going to start compounding on top of that. But I think it's a case of, start more realistically, maybe that's the word, or focus on trying to improve your own sort of time and your own efficiency, rather than saying, hey, look, we're going to roll out an AI tool which is going to make our whole company 75% more efficient.
That's right. And it can be very abrasive. Like, how often do you use Siri?
Honestly,
Yeah, honestly.
I reckon I use Siri 3 times a year.
3 times a year? Yeah. I quite like, well, that's like Siri is the original, or like those AI bots. Well, they're essentially that. They're like an artificial intelligence chat bot that lives in your phone and your device, where you can speak into it and you get a result back. And the thing about, you know, Siri or Google Assistant and things like that is like that. It was when it first came out, it was very cool, and I think that's what everybody thinks AI they want it to be. Of like, I'm talking to this machine and it's giving me this stuff back, like Knight Rider and like the car or whatever. But it's so abrasive, and like you honestly feel a little bit stupid sometimes trying to like talk to the character and get like some stuff back. Whereas this new wave of AI is far less abrasive, and it's just a little bit here and there to improve your days. It's not a tool that's going to come in and it's going to make you, it's going to reevaluate your whole week and you only need to work a 4-hour week. Like, no, it's just those, like we've been talking about, improve like 2 seconds, 5 minutes here, and you end up with a couple of hours at the end of the week to do other stuff. That Google Suggestions one's spot on in terms of every time you're smacking tab, if you like it or not, you're telling the AI that was correct. Yeah. That or not, you're going back and it's like, oh, that wasn't the right one. Yeah. I'm going to learn his writing style a bit more. Watch what emails you're sending out. And then every time you smack that tab button, you're just confirming to that AI that that's the direction to go. Yeah. Compared to trying to get on the Siri chats and bots where it's just not as a seamless experience. It's like, although those AI text-to-speeches are getting so good, like the pops and crackles and the voice and how that comes across now is getting that is cool tech. Yeah. I would hesitant, or I'd very much guess that's going to start coming into like this chatting area soon. ChatGPT's readback is really good as well. Yeah. But that's what I'd akin to. Like the only time I use Siri as well is if I'm in the car, because can't take your hands off the steering wheel. Want to be able to talk to the phone and like send a message or something. It's very handy for that. But besides that, you'll never catch me like just cooking away. Hey Siri, like what's the time? Like, it's like not going to happen. Yeah. So it's about getting those 5 seconds, 20 seconds, wherever you can in your day to bring that back and leverage a bit of a helpful tool to push forward. Yeah.
So coming back to the question that we said at the start is AI the next crypto? We've seen over probably the last 10, 13 years in the crypto space, maybe. We've seen essentially a roller coaster ride to the point where, as we're recording this, Bitcoin is more or less at its highest ever point. Had a little mini crash the other day, and then it's sort of like stabilized a little bit. So Bitcoin's a fantastic example of, in the AI space, probably the ChatGPT or the OpenAI product, sure. Where it's going to have good days, it's going to have bad days, but in general, give it enough time, it's going to be a stable and solid product. Yep. The question now that we have is, well, what are all of the other products that are going to sort of, what are all the other products that roll outside of the ChatGPT space? Yep. And in Bitcoin's example, it's the Dogecoin. Yes. Ethereum. Yeah. Which is once again more of a solid one. What are the sub products of ChatGPT that maybe we should be a little bit more cautious of?
That's a great question. To relate it back to that, spot on. The equivalent of in the AI space is ChatGPT to the Bitcoin. And particularly when we were talking COVID there, you saw all of these coins and particularly like all of these scams coming through where people were hemorrhaging or like really leveraging all these influencers to promote these coins that just started at like fractions of a dollar that people thought, invest $100, I'm going to become a billionaire overnight once it hits $1 or something like that, which I don't think we're going to have a space like that in AI, because I think the tech and fundamentally, like there was money and a lot of emotion attached to the crypto space, where it's like I can become rich this quick if I find the right coin and Elon Musk talks about it. Like it's like I think that was the direction there, but I would say there is a connection where if you just think you can make an AI product that people are going to want without enough research or backing onto your product, then you'll probably end up like one of those coins where you'll see a little bit of an uptake where people are like, this is super low, get on. Granted, the crypto explosion, everybody was at home, everybody knew about Bitcoin, everybody wanted a piece of the pie, where I think AI is that piece where people, I think, still look at it and go, that's really techie, and I need to do a lot of work to be able to get that thing up and running. Whereas you could just commission a firm to spin up a coin for yourself, put it on some registry on Coinbase, and it became really accessible to people to get on and to start splurging those things. But the trick with AI is finding the niche, doubling down on it, and then more importantly, just listening to the users that are actually using it, and then rolling those features back out to them, and leveraging the AI to just inevitably help the user, rather than I'm just coming in to make an AI product to try and catch a wave, because that'll just end up falling the wayside.
You're exactly right. The because of the monetary reason, the emotion is probably a bit more distance with AI products. What I would say is, survey your friends and family who's actually paying for ChatGPT at the moment. Like that's probably a good question to ask, because I know for a fact the vast majority are just on the free version. Some people don't even know there's a paid version. So it's a very good point. I would say when there is emotion, it's probably more so going to be in the business space, where a business owner is like, oh wow, I can leverage this AI tool to save me a person's wage, or to save me thousands of dollars in manually doing this, and that's maybe where a few people will be caught out. We were speaking with a client yesterday who's in the law space, and law firms have been leveraging automation tools. Could be refined as AI, leveraging automation tools for years, and all of a sudden over the past 12 months has just been tenfold the amount of legal automation and AI products that have remarkably
miraculously
that's what I don't know, so
miraculously
come out and started popping up. But one thing I also wanted to touch on is I think it's a great way to wrap up in the fact that AI is certainly here to stay. Business owners should be aware of it, individuals should be aware of it, start playing around with it, looking at how it can make your life more efficient, but also act with caution. It's absolutely. Is it overnight going to take over the world? Maybe not, but probably not.
Definitely invest a bit of time, understand what's coming, because like you said, it inevitably is. And if you don't jump on the train now, you might start to feel those effects very, very soon. And look at it as a tool that is here to help your life, or just help you get that next bit better, rather than it trying to be this world beater. Because if you try and force it to the wayside and not adapt, like we were saying, you're not going to be able to jump on board or leverage the benefits that it can bring, and you'll kind of fall by the wayside a bit. Absolutely.
So one thing I did want to touch on is 2024. All we've heard about is interest rates, inflation, things are getting more expensive, unemployment rates going up, housing markets all over the shop, and in short, money is becoming harder to come by. So people in the tech space, over the past 7 to 10 years, we've had this fantastic ride where startup businesses, they come up with an idea or a concept, they go to some sort of VC, some sort of incubator, and they get funding, and they go on this funding rise, and they are able to scale their business. Now, we all know in this particular market right now, funds are becoming increasingly hard to come by. So if there's someone out there with an idea and a concept, and they see a problem in the market, they've got a solution for that problem, and they think that a software product is the best way to approach it, what advice would you give, given that the traditional startup approach is evolving and shifting to what we've seen over the past years?
Great question. Big question. The number one thing that I think that startups or anyone out there that wants to push an idea forward is first of all just idea validation or figuring out if this is something that the market wants, and then properly testing it out. And then to wrap up on it, it's not necessarily just the idea that can make something successful, or it's not necessarily just having an original idea that can bring you success in tech where you want it to be. First off, with market validation, one big thing is that until you've released something out there, until you've got it into a user's hand, until you've got hundreds of thousands of people saying, this is a feature we want, or people coming back and saying, this is the direction we want to take it, you're shooting from the hip, you're shooting blind, and you've only got yourself all the little market research that you've done to go, right, this is something that I think can be plugged up, or we can make something here. But if you go for too long, you're just narrowing in your sights on, this is the hole I want to plug, without consulting the people that usually fill that space. You could release a product to market that's going to come in, not necessarily hit the mark, and not necessarily get to the people that it needs to get to.
Yeah.
So number one would be just understanding who this is actually going to first. I think a misconception is a lot of people will say, my target market's everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, of course, it can be everyone. Everyone has a smartphone, great. Anybody can download it. This is a stupid example, but you don't see particular apps on my phone because it's not catered towards me. I'm not a cyclist. I don't have cycling apps on my phone.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. I can download it. I can get on board, just like I can go out and get a bike.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not going to go ahead and buy it. Technically, yes, anybody can get on it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a proper target market to find of who this is actually going towards, you've got an app for everybody and nobody will download it.
Yeah.
So it's about figuring out that true direction that you want to go, doubling down on those people, providing them the best experience possible, and then you'll organically start to see other people come towards your products that thought, oh, this is really cool. Someone told me about it, that it's really good, because you've targeted them really well. They'll come on board, and then you'll get user feedback from them, and you can start broadening your horizon a bit from there, and then leveraging some of those people. Trying to hit the market from day one and get 8 billion downloads is just not going to happen, and too audacious to try and go for.
Yeah.
What would you say, I guess, to throw on back to you, is there a step-by-step, or I know I touched on target market, but how would you go ahead and figure out, like, this is what I should be going for in 2024? What are the target markets, or particularly what are some of the holes?
Yeah. Is
AI the hole that we should all be targeting in 2024 now? Like we talked about the wave, like where should people, or where can people even try and find these avenues to go down?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great question. So this is the way I look at it. You got to think the market right now is in a de-risk mentality.
Yep.
So if I'm going to invest time, money, resources into a product, I want as close to a guaranteed return on that as possible. So everyone's trying to de-risk everything. So if you've got an idea or a concept that you're working on at the moment, I would say the first thing you have to do, and it's exactly what you touched on, is understand to the core the problem that you're looking to solve. And all you need to do is do some research on every single software product you use at the moment, and they had a core problem they were looking to solve. Everyone says, oh, Uber's for everyone. I'm going to be the Uber for everyone. The core problem Uber was actually looking to solve when they started was the black cab market for premium business executives, making that more accessible. That was the key problem that they were looking to solve. I did some research into Strava recently. Strava was founded by two guys at Harvard. They were rowing, so on the Harvard rowing team. They graduated and they wanted to build a social platform to bring Harvard athletes back together.
There you go.
And what it is okay, what's the core problem that you're looking to solve? It's extremely easy when startup founders, even people in business who are looking to explore technology, it's extremely easy for them to pivot from their core when they start to get pushed and prodded and challenged. And the easiest way for us to see that is when someone comes to us and starts saying, and it can do this, and it can do this, and it can do this, and it can do this. And be brutally honest with yourself. Catch yourself if you start to bloat your product outside of the core problem. So I would say, number one thing, understand the core problem you're looking to solve and double down on that. particularly in this market. You want to be crystal clear in what your product is actually doing and why it's going to market. There's too much sort of, the way I look at it is the software products which don't see success is through dilution. They dilute their idea, they dilute their target market, like you said before, and they start becoming the everything, and no one's attracted to it. So first thing, absolutely double down on the problem that you're looking to solve. Then from there, going back to my key point before, is you've got to think, how am I going to actually build a business? Not build a product, but build a business, and put together this core business base, or the core foundations of what your product or what your business is going to be. So what does that look like? Okay, you've got the problem that you're looking to solve, but then start saying, how am I actually going to make money? Like we have to be honest. In this market, no one's going to invest in you. Might be harsh words. It's going to be hard to get an investment if you don't have a clear monetization strategy. And it's easy enough to say, oh, we're going to do subscriptions, we're going to do in-app purchases, we're going to do advertising, but is that really going to happen? And do some true numbers on, okay, how many users do I have to have? What's my churn rate going to be in order for that product to genuinely make money? So understand your core business. So what's the problem we're looking to solve? What's the monetization method? How am I actually going to get users? And build that core business and try and build it yourself. Like, even if your goal is, okay, I'm going to get this business from $0 to $1,000 a month. You're already 1,000 steps ahead of the majority of startup founders. Because the thing about startup founders, I'm getting a bit excited
this is good.
and heated here. The thing about startup founders is they have a fantastic idea, but because their brain is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, sometimes they're not able to get it to the next step, which is a great idea without a core business base is useless. So understand the core fundamentals of your business, get it to a point where, once again, you narrow down on the problem that you're looking to solve. You've got a monetization strategy, and figure out how to get users. User acquisition is the #1 biggest killer of all software products. All software products. No one turns around and says, oh, my software product wasn't successful because I didn't have this feature. I've never heard someone say that, ever. So in order to overcome the biggest killer of user acquisition, start getting innovative and agile in how you're actually getting users on your product. It's too easy to say, hey, look, we're going to do some Google ads, we're going to do some Facebook ads. Look beyond that. You know, who are the people right now who have all of my users in one place? Who has my market? Who has my target market in a single place? That might be a product, that might be a business, that might be a company, that might be a database. And how can I get in with them through some sort of profit share, through some sort of partnership, through some sort of paid agreement, that I can get access to that database and bring them across to my product as cost effective and as efficiently as possible. Because when you get to that point, you've gone from an idea to a product that actually has a genuine business base, it has users, and it's probably got some sort of revenue. I'm not saying it's profitable, but it's got some sort of revenue. And then at least at that point, a VC, an investor, is looking at it and saying, hey, look, this has got legs. And this is really what we're talking about in this market, is how can you, as someone who's got an idea or a concept, be slightly ahead of your competition. And in this instance, if you're looking for funding, your competition isn't the other products on the market that you're solving your problem. Your competition is the other startup founders. And you have to think, okay, as a startup founder, how can I get further along? So I know we've taken a slight deviation there, but I think it's really important to think, if I'm a startup, if I'm looking for funds, put yourself in the investor's shoes in this market where the market's volatile, everyone's trying to de-risk things, and how can I, as much as possible, without spending excessive amounts of money, get myself further down the line.
That was a key point that you mentioned there. your competition isn't, say I'm making a social media platform. It's not Facebook. It's everyone else around you and trying to get off that springboard there.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of startups, or particularly people in tech that want to come in and make something that's different or take a new take on something else, is that they'll look at the crown jewel before they jump in and think, I have to compete with that in order for me to be seen. But as you mentioned there, Strava was made by two blokes at Harvard that were like, I want to connect everyone together or to track my rowing.
Yeah.
The obvious example is Zuckerberg. He's like, I just wanted to make an app that connected everybody, or a platform that connected everybody in, ironically again, university.
Yeah.
And it turned into the thing that it is now by listening to users and figuring out what they wanted. Went off the back of that. Granted, they were in a very particular time where nothing like this kind of existed, but the approach is still the same, where it was figuring out what users actually wanted, delivering that thing to the market, is getting some people on board. Great example, like I said there, Uber. It wasn't about how do I kill the taxi industry. It was how do I get a slice of the business guy going to and from the building every day, and make that easier for him. And then everybody went, that's really cool. I want to get on board with it. And then it turned into Uber.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily the idea to start off and go, I'm going to take over the entire taxi business, kill this. We are going to be the transport provider of the world, which that vision is kind of going towards now. It was more just, how do we get into market? Another one, Elon is always tinkering away with these little Teslas. I relate Elon with what he's doing with his electric cars similar to Henry Ford, where Henry Ford was the first guy to really have mass market production vehicles available to the world. At a reasonable cost and quite fast to make as well. Before then, it was all coach building and every car was bespoke to the chassis it was made from.
Yeah.
But then Elon's, how I relate to it is that we've just been in this normal pattern for a long time with combustion engines, building cars. He's kind of come in, and what Elon did was he made electric cars cool. Yeah. Where it was, this thing's actually fast.
Yeah.
And you can have your big iPad in the middle of the screen and the car does all these cool things. And now everybody wants to get on the bandwagon again, but the first slice that Elon went for was just, how do I make this cool or accessible to the people that want it?
Yeah.
Very similar to how Henry Ford brought the motor vehicle to the world really quickly. Elon's doing that with Tesla to push that forward and make that piece far more accessible to people, and he's done it in spades, where that brand is very, I think, on the surface, people would think Tesla's a very chill and safe brand, but underlying it, the best brands always have this edginess to them. And his newest vehicle, the Cybertruck, is one. This is a crazy deviation, but on business, it's something that got eyeballs on Tesla to go ahead and jump on board and get around it. Where exactly like marketing, it's like, how do I get eyeballs on myself before I go ahead and release this thing to market?
Yeah.
How do I get people actually invested in my AI tech, my new app that I'm bringing out there? The Cybertruck got people hyped. People were talking about Tesla. They think Tesla's cool. The Cybertruck's $100,000. They'll go buy a Model 3 because that's far more accessible, but I've still got a Tesla.
Yeah.
And that's how they're starting to get this churn over far better, and that's becoming a far more adoption rate in the world.
Yeah. And it's a well-known fact is Tesla virtually do zero marketing. There's no coincidence that as Tesla they need to raise some funds, or they're just about to launch a new vehicle. Yeah. Who pops up on X or Twitter?
Who owns it now as well?
Exactly. Elon starts popping up, getting eyeballs, and he's the number one marketing resource for Tesla because he drives all the eyeballs down that way, and it's a really good example of how you can approach marketing differently. Of course, Tesla can do Google ads and pay per click and billboards and all that sort of stuff, but they use Elon because he does the job for them. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, okay, how am I going to get users on board, engagement, money through the door, and don't always just revert to the easy option, which is I'm going to run some ads or I'm going to do an email campaign. It's like, is there an easier, more efficient way to potentially shortcut that? And the way you figure that out is finding who has your audience. The Tesla owners and the Elon fans are pretty much the same person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the question that you have to ask yourself if you've got a new product that's coming to market is the people who are going to use my product, who's my Elon to Tesla, who is that person for my product? And then you try and leverage them and their existing runs on the board, whether it's a following, a database, a subscription service, whatever they have that you want, you try and leverage that to get them to come across to your product.
Yeah, and it's far less abrasive for a user then as well. It doesn't feel like that it's just like I force things to jump on board. When you build rapport with people, or people think your thing's cool, that's when you're going to get a much faster adoption rate. And people will tell others as well, like it's so cool, jump in. The coolest thing about the Tesla is you can jump into the car and take it around, take your friends out for a spin, and they feel the force, they feel the energy, they're like, this is really cool, how can I get on board with this as well? And you can definitely channel that through other businesses as well. Like this is very different in software products, but maybe you buy like a face cream or something like physical, you try it, it feels nice on your body, it's like great, I want to keep using that, tell other people about it, they want to jump on board. Try some food, tastes great, want to tell people about it. In the app world, it could be about bring back to AI, text-based 2024. This genuinely saved me 20 minutes. You should use it. Get on board. Or this actually helped me make this art or this software figure out this problem or create a solution to this problem, which is going to bring me X-fold within the business. Come back in and sharing that around. The best form of marketing is word of mouth marketing, of course, and sharing that around and connecting with others. But to get that initial capture, bringing back to Tesla again, it was about making a cool car, making a cool product, and getting it out there, getting eyeballs on it, and then the rest takes care of itself. Once you gotten things out there, people see them driving in the street. What is that? And they want to jump on board.
Totally.
Absolutely.
So the final question I have for today is: there's a lot of uncertainty and excitement in the AI space. We've got a interesting market that we're dealing with at the moment, where for the startups, VCs aren't necessarily handing out funds, and for the established businesses, they're getting squeezed a bit at the moment. So we've got a number of uncertainties on the horizon in 2024. So is 2024 still a good time to be investing in software?
Well, if there's anything what we've gone by, it's when we should really be. Like you want to be at the forefront of that tech launch. So this is when you want to be really understanding what it is so you can leverage it better as you move forward, or understanding so that you can create something that benefits your life or other people around you as well. So the technology wave is only going to keep going up, and it's an exponential one that's just going to keep on pushing. So being able to go through and start investing in tech now rather than later is of course going to bring benefits, and no matter what industry you're kind of working in. To bring it back to Ford again, they started off by heaps of people on the assembly line. It's all done by robots now because it's far more accurate, faster, and they can pump cars out quicker. Exactly the same in looking at your business and how you can bring a software product, a hardware product to the business to speed it up, make better things, help consumers out, and be able to make the best product possible. So I think absolutely that we're only scratching the surface in what tech can do, and there's so much more to explore as well. But I'm keen to get your thoughts on it as well. Like what areas now, or when should we be pulling the pin on getting something pushed forward, or when should we have the idea, execute it, and move forward?
What's really interesting about the current times is it's probably been between that COVID space and now, all we've really had is adoption of us as a society. Culturally, as a society, everyone is comfortable with using technology now. Like, I'm sure you see it now. We've got 60 and 70-year-olds walking around with iPhones and commenting on Facebook posts left, right, and center. Almost everyone in society is comfortable with technology. So from a cultural perspective, we're, I think, certainly at a high from people's willingness to engage in new products. I think the big thing, particularly with AI and a lot of uncertainties around that, and also around the economy and where everything's at, is be extremely intelligent on who you decide to partner with in your software journey.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon saying, hey, I'm an AI expert, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But make sure you do your due diligence, and make sure you try and de-risk that investment as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that starts with everything I said before on laying down the foundations of your business, particularly if you're a startup product, laying those foundations and getting as far down the pathway as possible on your own without potentially going into debt or taking on big investments or whatever it might be, is try and de-risk it. But culturally, I don't think there's ever been a better time to be building products, to be rolling out new systems if you're an established business, or if you're a startup coming up with new ideas and trying to get them out there on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. We're only scratching the surface, aren't we? There's heaps more to go. Well, mate, thanks for the chat today. I think we've only scratched the surface in terms of AI. We've gone on a big journey, but I think it's all stuff that relates to what we encompass here at Moonward, and want to make sure that we make great products and be able to ensure that what we are making is something that's far more sustainable than just slapping an AI badge on it and moving forward. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, these are the conversations that we're having daily with clients, with team members. So this is the information that we share on a daily basis, and really just the examples and the information that we put on the table is through our experience as well.
That's it, 100%. Well, this has been Flight School episode 1. We've talked about AI. Feel free to let us know in the comments if there's any topics you would like us to talk about, and we can come in and dissect them together from there. But thanks heaps for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Beautiful. Thanks, team.